Michael Wesley Howell Sr. I joined the service when I was 17 years old. October of 1967. Well, in 1967, it was, I guess you would say, rioting going on. Kennedy got killed. Martin Luther King was having his protest. Malcolm X with the Muslim, he came into play. So it was a lot of things going on. And at the age of 17, you're basically confused anyway, and you don't know which way to go. So, a friend of mine and I decided that we would join the service. We tried to join the Air Force. We couldn't get in, so we went next door and joined the Marine Corps. Well, we were like in a middle-class family. My dad worked for the postal services, and my mother worked in the education department. And we had our struggling times, but, with four sisters and me and my brother, we went through struggling time. But at that age, I was working. I was working at a nice electronics, and I was making a nice little salary for 17 years old. But I just decided that wasn't enough, and I just wanted to get away. A lot of people that I grew up with, when I left, they were one kind of way. When I came back, they were basically the same or worse. So, my thing was not to get that way, but to do something with myself, And then when you have a family, it's mostly girls, and I'm the oldest boy, you just want to get out of the house and do something and do a little traveling. So that's when I decided that when I graduated from high school, I was going to go into service. I was kind of what's the word? It couldn't happen to me personally. You would see in the front page of newspapers, these Marines or Army guys laying in a ditch. And I remember telling my friend that went in with me, the Marine Corps, I'm not going to be in that position. I'm not laying in no ditch with my pants tore all the way up, in water, fighting with somebody that I had no beef with. I just wanted to go in for the benefits. Well, I didn't have a particular trade that I was looking for, but I knew that joining the service, you learn a trade. They train you, for mechanic for trucks and Jeeps, or for planes and jets, construction, communication, all of those things that, is what I was looking at that I could get into, but, it didn't work out that way. You're spinning the wheel when you join the service, because once you sign your name, they own you. When it came to family and my ex-girlfriend, they weren't happy. Because like I said, everybody was in the black movement thing, and they felt that, why should we go over there? Why should we go in the service? The Vietnamese people haven't done nothing to us, or, why are you fighting, with the white man and stuff like that, But at that time, that wasn't on my mind. I just wanted to get away. Now, my girlfriend, I guess didn't like it because she fired me, but you have to make your own decision. If you start getting dictated by someone, then you would never be able to think for yourself. So if someone can convince you to not do something, means that you're not a man, as far as I'm concerned. Or if they convince you to do something that you shouldn't do, you're a fool. They gave me a going away party, this and that. And, my mom took me to the airport because my dad, he works nights. He was working nights, so, he kind of tired. But he met us at the airport before I got on the plane. It was solemn, some tears, and then it being unknown to what was going to happen, you're a little scared because you don't know what's going to happen. Now, I'm a Marine now, and I was going to California to start my training. And it'd be no more mommy and daddy, friends. You meet friends when you get there to boot camp. But it's just fear of the unknown. And then when you get off the plane, they immediately, get you in formation, and march you, on the bus, and now your training begins in boot camp. So it's kind of once you get on the plane, leaving home to your destination for boot camp, everything else is just snap, snap, snap. They don't give you time to sit on the bus and cry. Once you make that ride to boot camp, they stay on you the whole time. We didn't sleep for 2 days. They just kept you moving. And it's the psychological thing of keeping you awoke so that you can transition from home to the service. If you understand what I mean, move home away and the security at home, and now this is your home now for the next 4 years. So they just hollered at you all day. You stand there and doze off. One of the sergeants are hollering in your ear. They had you scrubbing brass. That's how I know about brass, because you shining stuff, even though it's shined already. And that's the transition. They cut your hair. You had to take all your clothes off, civilian clothes, and you bald-headed with with boots and uniform, khakis and not khakis, green uniforms, and they just keep you busy. And like I said, for about 2 days, close to 2 days, we didn't get a chance to even lay in the bed and sleep. They kept us up. And you're right outside of the airport. It's just so tempting. And some guys try to go AWOL. It's a big, tall fence there, and a little small field, and there's the airport, and, it's just tempting, but we went to, as they put it, they called us Hollywood Marines. The other boot camp was in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, and, it was more harsh, they was walking when they were marching through swamps and stuff. We were just going up big hills and mountains and stuff. But basically, they do the same thing. It's just in a different area. We went through boot camp, and we went in there in October, and we finished boot camp in, I think it was February, and then they send you to specialty school, which is what they call your MOS, your job, would be while you're in the service. Once you get that number, that is what you would be most of the time when you're in the service. I was 0300, uh, uh, because the last day of boot camp, they give you your orders. And our orders were in Sacramento for NCRD, your specialty, what you were going to be. But 0300 meant that you was infantry. So they would say 0300 Westpac, so you knew you was going to Vietnam. And most of the people sitting there was 0300 Westpac, except for my buddy. He was a cook. We were able to go home for 30 days, a 30-day leave. Okay, and then you get a chance to meet your family and everything before you go to Nam. We flew back to California, to Sacramento, and we did real training for what we were going to. We trained for Vietnam. You know, me being a machine gunner, our A gunner, or me being A gunner, then a machine gunner, or vice versa, you know, and staying overnight outside more than we normally did when we were training. The other training thing, the other training was just learning how to use the weapon. Now we were learning how to be out in the environment all night and into the day. So we spent a lot of time outside and trained. We marched. We went up and down those big hills in California. We spent the night up in the hills where it got cold, and we just zipped up in our sleeping bags. Wake up and make your coffee. We had to shave. We had to do all the things that we would be doing if we were in base. So they made us shave and, brush your teeth, more or less a bird bath, because we didn't have showers. And then we'd go out and we would go up and down hills marching, doing maneuvers and stuff. And then we stayed there for about 30 days, and it was time for us to head to fly out to Thailand. Well, that's where they process you before you go to Vietnam. Thailand was a Marine base, and that's where you get your orders to what regiment and battalion and company that you would be in. So that wasn't nothing but about 4 days, and we was on the next flight for 2.5 hours to Vietnam. And then we flew to Dong Ha, where when I got to Vietnam and Dong Ha, it was like the rainy season. And it was like what they call a monsoon. And they trucked us to a location for staging until they were able to take us to our battalion. And it was mostly brothers there, because there was a lot of brothers there that found a way to get over, most of them was in transportation and supplies, and you get a few that should be going back to their base and they're AWOL, but they're moving you so fast, you may meet someone, talk to them for a couple hours, and then you move on until you get to your final destination. So Vietnam was mostly even, if not more black and brown than it was white. The way they show it on TV, they're always mostly showing white soldiers, but there was a lot of black and brown. When they gave me my orders to go, I was in the 3rd Marine Division. They call it 3rd Mardiv. Okay, and my battalion was just outside of Quezon. Okay, C2 was the area, was the base. My staff sergeant, black guy, big black guy from Alabama, and he kind of took me under his wings. He's a staff sergeant, and like he told me in the beginning, I know you're scared, you don't know what's going on, but just relax, focus, and follow orders. And he said, when we go on patrol, just do what I say, and you'll be fine. So he kind of took me under his wings and kind of helped me to relax, because when you're in a situation like that, a couple of months ago, I was a kid from Maywood, Illinois, and now I'm in Vietnam. When I said I wasn't going to never be in that position, there was a real good chance I'd be in a ditch with my pants tore up. So, it was a shaky feeling. But the first, I would say, couple of weeks, it was kind of quiet. I didn't go on patrols until one night it was doing TET, right after TET. And just before I got there, around February or March, the TET season had began. I got there in April of 1968. TET was just about over with when I flew into my battalion. But there was still a lot of things going on. Like, that is when NVA, in North Vietnamese Army, got into the war. In the beginning, it was, the military fighting Viet Cong, but the North Vietnamese Army got into the war, and things started changing because they were just experienced as the military in the United States. The name Charlie is what we call the Vietnamese that we were fighting. And if you look up Quezon was one of the worst bases in Vietnam from where it was sitting. And we were on the outskirts of it. The North Vietnamese Army would go through Laos and make their way down Highway 1 or Highway 9 going into South Vietnam. And they just loaded up all around Quezon. And they just did what they wanted to. In fact, they was digging trenches to the base. So, of course, we was always on high alert because we wasn't that far from Quezon. We were on patrol, and, you kind of get lured into thinking, oh, this is nothing, I can do this, because you didn't have a problem. And what happened that day, we got hit. And we got hit bad, guys dropping left and right all around me. And even my staff, he was shot, staff sergeant, he was hit in the shoulder, but he still got up and told me to keep my head down. And then I seen another guy that I got close with, he must have had his back turned because he had a big hole in the back of his, right below, around his neck. And he was struggling to get out of fire. And we fought for a while with the NVA. It ended up finding out that we bumped into 2 regiments, and we didn't know it. And they had the same thing we had, so they just lit it up to us, and we lit it up to them. In fact, that's when my first time that I really realize how close I could have been dead because a chicon, which is a grenade, was thrown in front of us and it knocked me out. And when I woke up, I was in the rear, and they were still out there fighting. In fact, I got my weapon and went back out there and continued on. But I had a concussion from the grenade. The one thing about a chicon, if it's not pointed, the head pointed at you, that's where all the blasts come back. If it's turned the other way, the blast is going the other way, and you just get a concussion. And that's why we were lucky there. You know, the other two guys that I was in between, you know, they were fine when I came back. And we finally called in air support and helicopters and phantom jets and artillery, and pushed them back, and we finally found out it was like 2 regiments of NBA that we bumped into. So it was like 2.5 hours of fighting. After that firefight was over with, we went back and, counted our dead, our wounded. They took us back. They had us shower and hot meals, and gave us a day or two to get our heads together. Then we back out there. You get up in the morning, you go on patrol if that's what they want you to do, or the whole battalion or company go on patrol, and you go out for about 6, 7, 8 hours, and then you make a perimeter. Then you dig a hole, and that's where you are that night until the morning, and you just switch times of who's on watch. So, it wasn't an everyday battle. You get into a firefight and it may last maybe 2-3 hours, but it seems like it's 2-3 days, even if you just have a couple of minutes of a firefight, it seems like it's longer than a couple of minutes because you fight to stay alive. We were in Cambodia, which we weren't supposed to be. Laos is where we were. But anyway, we were on a mission, a search and destroy mission. And we went through this area where it just looked like a haunted forest. Tall bamboos, just clustered together, and you couldn't see 1 foot in front of you because you're battling with these bamboos to cut them down so you can walk through them. But then they decided that we were going to set up in there, so we had to start making a clear space. So we did that, and at night, it was just pitch black. You couldn't see anything. And we just knew we was going to get hit. And we never did the couple of days we was there. But when we left, we got hit. And we got hit bad. And it wasn't in my company. It was in a different company that got the biggest casualties. But we were battling really all day off and on because you couldn't see, and by the time the thing was over with, those bamboos were down, and we had to retreat and get up out of that bamboo forest. Well, we started retreating because we had a lot of wounded and dead. Marines don't leave dead. We bring them with us so that they can go home. So we had to rig up things so that we could drag them down this road that we were taking to go back to an old base that we had a week or so ago. And it was a long walk. It's about maybe 5 or 6 miles or more. But it was pitch black. And you say, well, that's all it is, 5 or 6 miles. But that's a long distance when you can't see, and you're on a line all the way back to the end of that whole battalion. So that's hundreds of men plus the dead and wounded that they're dragging. So they wanted this one guy, black guy, I can't remember his name, to go point. And he said, okay, he do it. And he asked this white dude to do it. He's out hesitating. And out of my mouth said, come on, man, I got your back. Now, I didn't have to say that because I was a machine gunner. But he was a partner of mine. So I gave the guy that was my A gunner my machine gun and took his M60 and told him that if I tell you to fire, you fire right or left. And the guy said, okay. So we slowly walked that road. And you can hear on both sides of the road all this rustling of leaves and grass, So we knew that they were on both sides of us, but they weren't attacking. So my buddy, he would tell me to hold up, and he would walk forward, and he would walk, maybe 25 feet or so, and checking to make sure it was okay. Then we had a code that we changed each time we did that, and that way if Charlie was hearing us, they couldn't use that against us. When he came back, he said, okay, when I do it again, this is the code. And we slowly walked back to that old base. And it took us all night to do it. All night. But we got everybody back there. There was no ambush on them or nothing. We just, me and my boy, he'd go, I'd stop everybody. When he come back and say, let's go, next code is this, because like I said, I couldn't see him unless for the moonlight, because we depended on clear days because you could, a trained eye you can see at night, by the moonlight or the stars. Now, cloudy days, it's a different story because you can't use a flashlight. So it took us a while. In fact, one of our lieutenants had a little attitude because we moved so slow, and it was because he was scared. But, I told him, well, you want to take point? Close. What do you want us to do? Just walk? We could have been walking right into an ambush with machine guns. So that's why, my boy, he would check and then he'd come back and say, okay, let's move. And we do that. And it took us all night from dusk to dawn. But we got everybody back. We were sitting in this cave area at that new base because once we got to the base, now we had to worry about whether Charlie had booby trapped all the holes. So, and you go in there and you get to jump in the hole, there's punchy sticks in there with poison or grenades that'll blow, or whatever. So when we got there, we were so exhausted. And the lieutenant come in there talking trash, and one of the guys, he got a little attitude, and, he was one of those quick-tempered people, so we had to just grab him and just say, come on, man, let's go. We ain't got to be bothered with this. We was on listening post, which is just about 200-300 yards outside of our perimeter, and we were just there, 10 of us. And our job was to ambush if Charlie tried to go up through the perimeter, and we had that all the way around our perimeter, and we had a landing zone where we had water and ration dropped in, and we just left it there. But we put booby traps around it. And that night, Charlie wanted to. I guess they were thirsty, and lit up that stuff. And there's only 10 of us out there, so we just laid back and didn't say nothing. Didn't make a word, and they ran away. That was scary because you didn't want to get captured. That was always on our mind. We lost 2-3 guys during the time of my Vietnam stay. We just lost them. They was AOL. MIAs, not AOLs. The second time that my second Purple Heart, we were in what do they call that zone? Well, we wasn't supposed to be in that zone either. It was a no contact zone. It's the separation between North and South. And this was full of little bushes and stuff. And as we were climbing, there were 2 machine gunners firing down at us, there's a movie called Hamburger Hill, and that's on TV. If you ever saw it, you would see how guys would go up, they get shot, or we had to go back down and go back up. And the third time that I went up, being a machine gunner, we started our attack, and they were doing their firing at us and throwing Chicons and having mortars drop on us. Well, one must fell in front of me and just rolled me all the way down to the bottom of the hill, where everybody else was almost up the hill. So I'm down there laying by myself when a couple of guys went sliding down there, two of my buddies, and just, crowded around me. And what they had to do, I couldn't be moved because I was in a lot of pain. And the medic rigged up a basket for me to be pulled up because the chopper couldn't land because we were down in the gully with a bunch of trees. So he rigged me up with a bunch of belts and rope from people's weapons, and they dropped the guy line down into the wooded area, and they hooked me up to it and started bringing me up. Now, I can hear whizzing going on by my head and everywhere, but the piece of cake was I almost fell out of there because I had to hold myself with my 2 hands right under my chin until I got up in the chopper. And that was scary, the whole scene. And when I finally got back about 4 weeks later, they told me it was 2 big Chinese that held that hill from us for about 2 days because they had the advantage. They had the height, and all they had to do was just fire down. But they finally got them out of there. I still think about that. I've always thought about that. I could have fell out of that thing. And, Lord knows, I might have not made that far. But, Lord was looking out for me again. Another time we was set up right off the river, and they told us that they wanted us to move on the other side. Well, we got hit, and we whoever it was that was shooting at us left. So they wanted to move across the river. And so we started going across the river, and a group of us went across, and then the forward observer who did the call-in for airstrikes and everything, him and his group, his assistant, all of them came behind us, and boom. I mean, just all hell broke loose. in the water, and they had set mines in there. And it just so happened that they didn't detonate them until the white guys came through there. They let us through and knocked out the whole FO team. So we had to regroup because we didn't have a forward observer to call in airstrikes and stuff. So, that's another one. And, just the whole thing is that every day was a scary day because you could get hit by snipers. You be ambushed. You could be in a firefight and, get wiped out. So it's it was a harrowing experience, but it was an experience where you met people and got close to people, that, watched your back and you would watch theirs. That's the way it goes. We had one staff sergeant that was a scared person and nobody liked him. And he ended up getting fragged by one of our people. He went out there in the front to go to the bathroom where he had no business doing it anyway. There was another night. That was a bad night because we got into a real big firefight. I mean, Marines dropping left or right, getting wounded. We running out of ammo, and I'm carrying N60 ammos to my machine gunners because I was the team leader for them. So I had to make sure they got supplied. And we fought for about 3 days back and forth, not all the time, but back and forth. And when it was over with, all the dead was laid out, inside our perimeter. And they was going to come and chopper them out. Now, I don't know if you ever had, but that's a smell you never forget of a dead person. And so it was like 100 or so dead Marines out there. And all night we sat there smelling it and getting probed by Charlie trying to get in there on us. But that was a terrible night. They were in ponchos and, it was just like that. My philosophy was not to buy nothing from them, especially Coca-Cola, because they would put broken glass in the can. And, you get to drink it, and now you're drinking broken glass. And once you start drinking, it's going to tell something before you realize that ain't right. I didn't buy cigarettes from them. I didn't go to the whorehouses, because they had a way of putting razors in they stuff and cutting you up. Plus, you don't know whether they got a knife in their feet, in their toes where they can slash you, in your back. So I wouldn't bother with that. I waited till I went on R&R. So the people had a choice. By day, they were our friends. By night, they were the NBA friends. Because that's how it went. If you went in a village and they sit in their little taverns that they had, which I didn't, or just sit out there hanging with them or trying to have sex with them, when we left, then the Vietnamese come in there and they do the same thing. So it was like a switch back and forth. And they had to live that way. Because if they patronize with just Americans, when we leave, they'll kill them all. Kids, mamas, daddies, it don't matter. They'll just kill them and burn their village down. So, I did not, you know, collaborate with them. I wasn't being cold. I wasn't there to make a Vietnamese buddy. You know, I'm trying to get back home. The rats was the size of a cat. In fact, the rats would attack a cat or a dog and eat them. But the bugs were gigantic. What we call a 1,000-leg. The thing is about maybe 12 inches to 2 feet long with a stinger. They had a big old beetle that just flew around. What the Vietnamese did was they would catch the beetle and suck the juice out of it, and then throw it away. It was a delicacy to them. The flies were gigantic, and you know how you can wave a fly away. Well, it ain't that easy with those flies there. You had to whap them and to get them away from you. So they're always around. And then the mosquitoes are very persistent. At night you be in your poncho and you can hear them buzzing around looking for an opening. Just buzz, and then they just buzzing. And then when they get quiet, they done found an opening. So, and then you'll find out that morning when you have a big old red spot that itches. The insect repellent, it doesn't help. It's like they drank it. It doesn't do any good. So as you learn to deal with it, because you out there anyway. The leeches, you go through the rice paddy, you bring your boots inside of your shoes, your pants inside your boots to, keep the leeches from getting in there. And once you get out and you stop somewhere, they done found a way to get in there. So you can't pull the things out. You had to put a cigarette on their butt for them to retract, because if you pull it, then the head would still be there and it could get infected. So you just had to get your lighter or your cigarette and put it on them and then get them off you. So it's a whole lot different than what you see here. Even the grass will get you, or some of the other plants. The elephant grass there cut you up. I normally walked around with long sleeve because, if not, it just cut you up all in your arms and everything. And then they had this vine that we call the wait a minute vine, where it's got a hook in it. So if you get caught on it, you had to back up to get it off you. If you keep on jerking it, it'll either rip your clothes or rip your skin. So all these things, you start learning. And, the guys that's there before you, they would tell you these things, They wouldn't sit back and say, well, I ain't going to say nothing to him because, he ain't going to be here long. That's just movie stuff. They want you to learn because you're going to be watching their back because they short timers. Because you're there for 12 months, a 13-month tour, and we call it 12 and 20. So short timers, when you get past 6 months, you start thinking about getting home. Up to that time, you just work with it day by day. When you get up to a month, you get scared. And because you don't want to go through all this time and you get killed, on your 12th month. So, and that's had happened where, guys was really short and should have been in the rear and not go on patrol or whatever, and they would become a KIA. And it's sad, it's really sad, but that's a war. The old wars, you didn't have a time limit. Once you went to war, you was there till the war was over with. World War I, World War II, Korea Moore, all of those guys, when they went to fight, they stayed there until the war was over. They had a lot of good times. In R&R on base, we would get together and sing Motown, Philly, drink beer, smoke our joints, having a good time, laughing and joking. Everybody talk about home, talk about their ladies, their brothers, sisters, and you got to know a lot of people real good, and that was the nice part of being in the service is that you meet people from all over the country. People you don't know become real good friends. You see them every day. You wake up with them, go to sleep with them, go on patrol with them, go on maneuvers with them. You eat chow with them. And you would have black groups and then white groups, but then as time goes, they kind of ease together. And you just start having a good time singing. We used to sing all the time, Smokey, Temptations, thinking that's who we were. And the more joints we had, the more we really thought who we were. But then the next morning or the morning after, because we did it every day while we was in the red, but the next morning it was time to get on back out there. And it's really amazing, that, we drink, we get, white dudes that drink their liquor, they get drunk. We drink beers, smoke reefer, and be messed up, be high as a Georgia pine. And we up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting our stuff ready to move out again. Well, the tour is 13 months. And like I said, the time limit is 12 months, 20 days. The 10 days is the rotation back to the world, which is, United States. So, I knew I was never going back to Vietnam. A lot of guys did go back, but I knew that once I step up off that plane, on that plane to head back to the States, Vietnam was going to be a thing to pass. At least I thought. I relate back to Vietnam a lot. In fact, I was telling my wife not too long ago how I dreamed I was going back to Vietnam, and I was all upset. And here I am, 71 years old. What I look like going to Vietnam now? And and then I think about certain firefights or certain times of being there, because it's an experience that a lot of people can't relate to. It's an experience that only another veteran that was out there every day could relate to, and that's why I never didn't talk about Vietnam much to family or some of the friends that didn't go, because they could never relate to the feeling of what you're saying, or they would think, well, he's exaggerating, and but when you're talking to another veteran, that veteran relates and can tell his story. So you just going back and forth with your story, or maybe some of your stories are the same, so, it's I would never want to go back there, not even to visit, like some of these people do. I wouldn't care to do that because it would bring too many memories back, but I left Vietnam in 1969, and I still have memories like it was just yesterday of some of the things that went on, when I was there. When I got home, my friends was still here, and some of the people that went in, like my buddy Cliff Holly, he got home a little bit before me, and Travis Smith and a couple of other guys that went to Vietnam, they all was here when I got back home. I was able to relate with them. It was very difficult with everyone else. I was kind of closed in on I closed myself in from the world out there, unless I was with a real good friend of mine. Like, I had another friend, David Thomas. He didn't go into the service, but he became my friend when I came home. We weren't buddies before I left, but I was able to relate to him and him to me, it was difficult, very, very difficult. In fact, I started popping pills and, to get my mind off of, Vietnam, and my mom and dad knew I was popping them, but they didn't say nothing, I was trying to release, that tenseness that, you build up, and then you would have people say, well, you ain't nothing but a baby killer. Well, war, that happens in war. And yes, a lot of Vietnamese babies got killed, but it was orders. If you don't follow orders, they throw you in the brig. So, it was just, you just want to forget, but you're not gonna ever, like I said, I've been home since '69, and I still ain't forgot it. And I'm 71 now. So, Vietnam was a harrowing experience. They shouldn't have done it, shouldn't have had it, but that's all past tense, and there's a lot of people that's messed up from it. When we flew into Travis Air Force Base, they were throwing tomatoes and cabbage and stuff like at us at the airport as we got off the plane to go inside the terminal to go home. When I got back to my hometown, they were throwing nothing at me, but like I said, there was people that had their differences, but the recognition came later. I think in the 90s they had a big Vietnam parade downtown Chicago, and things started changing a little bit. The wall that they built, with all the veterans' names on it that got killed, MIAs, it kind of changed people's mind. War is a war. I have no regrets, except, there's nothing I can do about it, so why regret it? I'm grateful for the people I met and became friends with, and I'm grateful for the things that the VA do for me. They do a lot of good things for me. But these are my 2 Purple Hearts right there. That's my service medal for Vietnam. But these are my boys here: Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps. They don't make them no more. I think there was one batch that they made, and they broke the batch. So these are unique. That's my Purple Heart, my service medal. All of them is my service medal for Vietnam. Vietnam, fighting in Vietnam, this and that. So, and I was also recommended for the Cross of Gallantry. That's from my grandson, Marlon, the greatest Marine I know. This is Blacks in the Military. It's my little setup here.
I'm a lonely soldier, many miles from home, with a heart that's heavy, but with a will that's strong. Behind I left a woman so dear to me. I'm off to fight a war that they said would make men free. And I'm a lonely soldier. I'm a lonely soldier. I'm a lonely soldier. Won't somebody have mercy on me? Matt's little son, Junior, smiling but with sympathy. All confused, he asked the question. He said, Daddy, why must this war be? I tried so very hard, yes I did, so very hard. I tried to explain, but it seemed like all my effort in trying, it all seemed to be